So according to Sigmund Freud, our whole life is centered around sexual pleasures. Alright, so right from the birth to the death, we are always thinking, or you can say our all actions, our thoughts, one way or another associated to sexual pleasures. So it is from psychoanalytic perspective. So for instance, if you read any other subject or any other theory, for instance feminism or Marxism, they have their different point of views. For instance, feminism says that it is not the psychoanalysis, but it is the patriarchal society which plays a significant role in formation of the personality of an individual. And then we study Marxism, we find that Marxism foregrounds the social and economical you can say theories which ultimately makes the personality of an individual. Or if you study Charles Darwin, you find that it is the biological formation, it is the theory survival of fittest which leads to the formation of a personality of an individual. So every theory or every subject has a different interpretation, have different perspective, and applying them all these different perspective into the works of English literature, we are going to find some hidden elements in the novel. For instance, if we apply this psychoanalytic criticism or psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud in D.H. Lawrence's Sons and Lover, we find that the protagonist who is suffering from Oedipus Complex. Alright, so if you if you apply the feminism in Jane Eyre, we can find other things. Alright, so every theory has its own importance and it is not something rigid. We cannot say that if Sigmund Freud has said this, then it is the reality. It is not so. It is just a different way of looking at life and looking at the society. So in this video, we are going to discuss the 5 different psychosexual stages given by Sigmund Freud, beginning from oral, anal, phallic, latent and genital stage. Alright, so we have other critics, other theorists who claim that this theory, this 5 stages of psychosexual stages is bogus. And then we have Judith Butler, who says that this theory is bogus, and she gives her own theory, which is gender is performative. Alright, so this gender is performative is a theory propounded by Judith Butler. We are going to discuss sometimes later in our videos. So for this video, we are only going to discuss these 5 psychosexual stages given by Sigmund Freud. Alright, so before beginning this video, if you are one of those students who are preparing for competitive exams in English literature, then you can simply check out our smart study material on English literature. You can simply check the link in the description below to know more about our study material. Now without any further delay, let's begin this video. So the very first stage is oral stage, and this particular stage begins as soon as the child takes birth. And at this stage, the attention of the child is towards his mouth. He takes pleasure, or you can say sexual pleasure, from his mouth. So according to Sigmund Freud, when a child does not get breastfeeding, he remains or he stays frustrated throughout his life. This frustration can cause him to commit suicide or to commit crimes. So this is very important stage, and in this stage a child must have satisfaction through breastfeeding. But now there is another thing. What if a child is excessively breastfed during this oral stage? Now what happened was, this child grows up to be a confused child as an adult. He will always remain confused about what to do and what not to do. So the balance between both of the stages must be maintained. Otherwise, if the child or if the baby do excessively breastfeeding, he will become a confused child. Or a child, if he does not get the breastfeeding at this oral stage, he will become a frustrated child as he grows up. So let's move on to the next stage, which is anal stage. So what happens is that in this anal stage, a child grows up. He is now in the age of 1 year or 2 year or 3 years old. So what happens is that when a child go to a loo, laboratory or toilet, he does not know how to clean himself. So at this stage, mother helps him, mother cleans him. Mother cleans his bottom. Alright, so what happens is that at this stage, a child starts taking pleasure towards his anal. His all attention go towards his anal, and he keeps on asking his mother to cleanse him, because he is getting pleasure while his mother is cleaning him. Yes, it is another thing when at the later stage, when he is 4 years old or when he is 5 years old, mother abandons him. Mother says him to do everything by himself, to clean himself. Alright, but at this stage, when he is 2 years old or 3 years old, mother is cleaning him. Alright, and at this stage he is taking pleasure, he is taking anal pleasure from while his mother is cleaning him. Alright, so this is what anal stage is all about. So what happens is that if the mother is cleaning this child very properly, then this child grows up to be a very disciplined child. This guy who is now grown up will take care of himself in a very clean manner. He will get frustrated if he sees someone doing indiscipline. So if a mother is taking care of the baby and if she is cleaning him very properly in this anal stage, the child will grow up to be a very disciplined man with a very disciplined woman. Alright, and on the other hand, if the mother is not taking care of the child not in a very neat manner, then this child will grow up as a messy person. His room will be messy, he wakes up late, he will become lazy, he procrastinates, a messy person who does not want to take care of himself. So the balance must be there in this particular situation, otherwise the child will grow up as a very disciplined person who gets frustrated on looking at the people, on looking at the indisciplined people. He may get frustrated a lot, alright, or otherwise he will become a very messy child, very messy adult. Alright, so the balance must be there in this anal stage also. So now let's talk about our next stage, which is phallic stage, which begins from 3 years. Alright, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, when a child gets young enough to take care of himself, to take care of his own cleaning habits, to go to a laboratory and use it and clean himself. Alright, so in this stage, mother is not there, because how long a mother keeps on cleaning the child? So mother, you can say mother abandons him to do everything by himself. So now what happens is that this baby thinks that the mother or the father is not taking care of him. So at this stage he starts developing ego. At this stage he starts experimenting with himself. He starts playing with his own sexual body, his own sexual organs, which we call phallus. So at this stage the child is very lonely and he plays with his own sexual organs, which is phallus. He becomes very much attracted towards himself. He starts looking himself in the mirror. He starts loving himself a lot. So according to Sigmund Freud, if a child is left alone in this phallic stage, he becomes much more interested in himself, and as an adult he will grow up as a homosexual human being, or he will become a very selfish human being as he grows as an adult. So at this stage also, a mother should take care, or a father should take care of the child, that he must not get excessively involved in his own sexual organ. He must not be left alone in solitude, in solitary. But again, the mother should not give so much attention to the child, otherwise he will develop Oedipus Complex, which Sigmund Freud explains that if a mother is taking a lot of care to this child, then this child starts envying his father. This child becomes the rival of his father, and he thinks of replacing the father by himself. He starts thinking that his father is enemy and he must take his place. In case of girl child, she develops penis envy, and this is what he calls Electra Complex. So balance must be here in this stage also. So now let's talk about the latent stage. So alright, so in this stage it is not like phallic stage where a child is playing with his own sexual organs. Alright, now he is grown up. Now he is in the age group of 10 years or 11 years, 12 years, or till the age of 15 years, you can say. Alright, so at this stage, this is a stage of puberty, and he starts building relationship with the society, because he knows that he cannot love his own mother, because that is what society society does not allow. He cannot maintain any relationship with his mother, so he tries to go out and he tries to find other person who can take the place of his mother or father. So at this stage he wants friendship, he wants respect, he wants love from others, and he starts forming his society, he starts forming his own behavior, his own personality based on you can say the pleasure he wants out of the people. So in the oral stage we have seen it is the breastfeeding which is forming the personality of a child. It is not forming the personality, it is just sowing the seeds of personality. And later in the 5th stage, all these seeds are getting firmly rooted in the subconscious mind. So the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th are the stages where the seeds of personality is sown into the mind of a child. And later in the genital stage, it foregrounds, it becomes deeply rooted in the subconscious mind, and the same thing goes on, the same personality goes on throughout the life. But yes, through discipline, therapies, or book reading, through influence of teachers, through influence of personalities from outside him, he can change his character, he can change his personality. But these 4 stages are somewhat plays a very significant role in determining how a child is going to become as an adult. So now let's talk about the 5th and last stage, genital stage. And what happens is that in this stage he enters the age of 16, 17, 18, and this stage goes until the death. Basically in this stage what happens is that all the 4 stages, the seeds which is sown in the 4 stages get firmly rooted. At this stage the focus of the child, or you can say the attention of a child, is firmly on his sexual organs once again. Now he wants someone else to give him pleasure. So alright, in this stage he wants the same kind of pleasure, what we have discussed in oral, anal, phallus, all the kind of pleasures from another person. Alright, so the sexual organs, the organs gets very much concentrated at this age, and the rest of his life he keeps on satisfying his desires, his pleasures. Yes, some people control the urges, some people cannot control, and some people get so agitated that they went on to do crimes, that they went on to do some rapes, or you can say any other sexual crimes, or try to prove himself as a leader, or try to prove himself as a politician. Some people feel themselves an inferior. Some people have the characteristics of a woman. Some man has the characteristic of a woman. Some woman has the characteristic of man. It happens just because of all the 4 stages, all the 4 or 5 stages that we have discussed in this video. And with this we come to the end of this video. If you're new to this channel, then don't forget to subscribe the channel for more updates on English literature. That's it for this video. Thank you.